Gold is lower than it should be because the Western system has suppressed the price of gold for a very long time in order to support a bond market and a Western system that is perceived to be stronger than it really is. Gold is the antithesis of the Western system. And I think the central banks for a very long time, because of low interest rate policy, have suppressed gold. And now the difference is you have the sovereign nations standing on the sidelines with their hands open. Okay, suppress it, we'll stand for delivery. And they are taking delivery and draining the exchanges very methodically. Here again, you'll notice.
Welcome to this important speech by Andy Schetman, where we dive deep into the world of gold and its intriguing dynamics. In this video, Andy sheds light on why gold has been persistently undervalued within the Western system, serving as a counterpoint to the perceived strength of conventional financial structures. Join us as we explore how central banks, driven by low interest rate policies, have wielded their influence to suppress gold for an extended period. Stay tuned for Andy Schetman's insights and analysis on this critical topic.
Very, very substantial, but yet it's not something that's going to happen all at once until it does. What I mean by that is this. You know, James Rickards, I know you know James very well, and I had the privilege of talking to him at Rick Rule's conference. And I think the mistake that was made, if any, was that we put dates on it, or James put dates on it, which got everyone excited about it. And I think he'll be proven right, but it's the timing that's always the tough one to nail down. I mean, as far as the currencies go, look, they said to all of the finance ministers, go back to the drawing board, come back and report to us next year on the merits of having a common settlement currency. To me, it's a done deal. It's just a matter of when it happens. But let's just, look a little bit at what happened during this event. You have, the countries that joined on, you have the majority of the oil across the globe, or at least with OPEC, when you talk about Iran, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. You have the controlling the vast majority of the world's oil under the BRICS influence. When you talk about Argentina, you have the largest producer of natural gas in South America. And, when you talk about Ethiopia, you have the fastest growing economy in Africa. So this is all a process that is very well thought out. And it's one that I think is more methodical than people in the West are accustomed to seeing. Well, first of all, I do. I think it's coming. I don't think they're a long way. I think it's coming. I mean, the BIS said that by 2025, everyone needs to have an operational CBDC. And if you look at if you take the entire gross domestic product of the world, the countries that comprise, to your point, 95% of the GDP globally already have one that in production, or they are beta testing, or they are building the central bank digital currency. I think it's interesting to note that the number 2 financial or economic advisor to the Biden administration, Lael Brainerd, who spent time at the Treasury and the Fed, who ran point on Fed Now, is a modern monetary theorist. She was involved in dealing, when at the Fed, dealing with MIT in the production of the CBDC. Biden signed an executive order to fast track the CBDC. You look at the things that are being done in this country, and you have to wonder to yourself, why are they doing these things? Why are we mothballing all of our energy? Why does, and this is not a political statement, but why are people looking at what made this country great, liberty and justice for all, where people would tie inner tubes together with string and float from Cuba, or walk from Central America, across, God knows what, and how hot it was, and all of the perils to find liberty and justice. And people look at what's happening in this country, and I think they have to question, is justice being passed out equally? Is it being administered equally? Are we the country that we once were? The fraying of the unity of this country, where, after World War II and the Great Depression, we were a unified country. We were able to stand together and build a great country. We're not unified anymore. It's black and white and red and blue and vax and no vax and rich and poor, and we're very, very much just not the same country we once were. Now, what I'm getting at is simply this, I ask you, could this possibly be intended? Could they possibly be trying to create an event? And this is what I've talked about for a very long time without really saying it. When we push away Saudi Arabia, we create divisiveness in this country, we weaponize the dollar, we're doing everything we can to create an environment where you see this coalition of countries pushing back against the West, even our allies like France, pushing back, and all of a sudden sides are being drawn. And what happens? What happens if Saudi Arabia and OPEC at that moment say we're no longer taking dollars and the dollar gets dumped? The banking system, remember, Lael Brainerd is a modern monetary theorist who wants to get rid of the banks, wants to cull them. Look at what's happening with the banks. The aiding and abetting of the money leaving the regional banks to the big commercial banks by the Fed, because they're allowing the money market funds to invest in the overnight reverse repo market at 5.3% with daily liquidity. There's no reason to stay in these fractured regional banks. You see this event, or whatever event it is, that creates this chaos where the banks fail and they will be bailed in, not bailed out. Bailed in. That's what the Dodd-Frank law said. They must be bailed in. Everyone will lose everything over $250,000. It goes into the pot to bail in the bank. The dollar gets dumped globally because it's no longer the sole settlement currency for oil. At some point, that's that all-at-once moment. You go over the falls, or the Jenga tower falls. Hey, thanks, you guys are going green. You signed an executive order. You don't need us anymore. So we've signed up with the BRICS, and we're going to sell oil and other currencies, and the dollar gets dumped. It doesn't. It does in this country because we're blinded by the inordinate, stupid strength of the dollar. Last Monday, gold hit all-time highs in the second and third largest economies in the world, in China and Japan. And there's a chart that I would like people to pull up, and you put down $ in front of XAUWCU. This is a chart of the 20 largest economies in the world. And if you look, this year alone, gold is up 9.5%, and over the last 5 years, it's up 59.65% against the 20 largest economies in the world. Gold is doing what it's supposed to do everywhere in the world except in this country. And ask yourself, how the hell is the dollar so strong when it is $155 trillion in debt with $5 trillion in assets, the largest asset being student debt? And we are divisive, and we are destroying the world reserve status and our image on the world stage. Gold is lower than it should be because the Western system has suppressed the price of gold for a very long time in order to support a bond market and a Western system that is perceived to be stronger than it really is. Gold is the antithesis of the Western system. And I think the central banks for a very long time, because of low interest rate policy, have suppressed gold. And now the difference is you have the sovereign nations standing on the sidelines with their hands open. Okay, suppress it, we'll stand for delivery. And they are taking delivery and draining the exchanges very methodically. Here again, you'll notice, we do things like that, they do it slowly, methodically. Plotting. Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Stand for delivery. Suppress the price. Let the West suppress the price. Don't bitch about it. Let those two guys from JP Morgan go to jail. Don't bitch about it, because we're accumulating at pennies on the dollar. Subsidy. Thank you. And then once no one wants to sell at this make-believe price, you'll see exchanges around the world take over for the COMEX or the LBMA, like the Moscow exchange or the Shanghai exchange, where it will be priced appropriately. Instead of the futures controlling the price, it will be the commodity controlling the price, because they will have not only accumulated it all, they produce it all. So yes, to your point, in the United States, with 5.5% interest on a treasury, which is still today, by their own admission, the month over month puts us at over 7% inflation. So you're still real negative by 2%.
Right.
But look at what John Williams would tell you. You're probably 5, 6, 7% real negative. But yes, 5.5% ain't so bad when you look at a non-interest bearing asset like gold. It makes it tougher. Here in the States, it does.
As we wrap up this insightful discussion on gold, it's clear that the Western system's suppression of gold prices has been a long-standing practice. Gold, often seen as the antithesis of the Western financial system, has played a unique role in supporting the bond market and maintaining the illusion of strength. Central banks, with their low interest rate policies, have kept gold under control for years. We hope you found these insights into the world of gold both informative and eye-opening. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video to spread the knowledge. Thank you.